Hey everybody, hope you're having a great day. I am back again because it is that great time of the week where Hulu has dropped a new episode of Castle Rock. I reviewed the first 3 episodes, so go back on the channel if you missed them and you want to, catch up with me or just want to hear my thoughts as well. So go back and watch those videos. But we are here to do episode 4. This episode was entitled The Box. And we didn't really know what the box meant because it could have been quite a few things, and I'll get to that, of course, in the review. But as always, before, like I've said in the previous reviews, this will, of course, have spoilers throughout. So you need to get out of here if you have not caught up to the episode, if you have not watched it, and no hard feelings. Come on back after you watched it and watch the review. So I'm really looking forward to it. A really solid episode. Now, unfortunately, it's only 1 episode per week. We were spoiled the first week with getting 3 brand new episodes, but I feel like these writers, these directors of Castle Rock, and the creative team behind Castle Rock are making every episode count. So I feel like each episode is going to be very, very important, and we saw that with the first 3 episodes, but now we only get 1. But let's get right into it. I'm excited to do the review and got my notes as always. It is entitled The Box, episode 4. And we start off with Henry sleeping in his bed. This is adult Henry sleeping in his bed and not dreaming, but kind of trying to remember what's going on. And we see a lot of images of someone in a cage. We see them putting their hand in the dirt, letting it fall. We see someone coming down the stairs with a flashlight, so it appears to be some sort of basement. There's like a chain link fence keeping the person, whoever is in the cage. Obviously, this is Henry Deaver as a child. He's in the cage, and whoever's coming downstairs, we don't know. Real quick theory, it is a basement, and the only basement I believe we have seen with in Castle Rock is Molly's. Molly's her basement. She has that creepy basement. But there's also the warden. His house had that locked, which led to his basement. So it could be something like that. I don't know. Maybe the warden had him. Maybe Molly, out of this whole time, was keeping him. That wouldn't probably make any sense. It probably is the warden. But throughout the episode, I think only maybe one more time we see Henry, more images of what was going on as he was a kid, locked up somewhere. We don't know. He's trying to piece everything together. He's got some, Pennywise, memories. He can't really remember what's going on, kind of like in the movie It. He doesn't really remember what happened to him, and he's trying to piece it all together, and it's exciting to see, where this is going to go. I have no idea where it's going to go. Next, the warden, the new warden, her assistant, her lackey, the guy that's basically a douchebag, that's always trying to sweep everything under the rug. He gives the kid a visit, and he basically tells him this horror story when the guy was in Iraq with his fellow soldiers, how they needed this name from someone, this guy, they thought he was a mute, they didn't think he speaks, so they fed him his own teeth. They ripped out his teeth and made him eat it. And sure enough, he started talking. He started giving up not only his name, but a lot of other names. So basically, he was telling the kid, that's what's going to happen to you if you don't start saying who you are. And the kid responded in just the great kid way. Bible verses. He started quoting the book of Revelation. It's chapter 19, I think. I have the quote right here. It's chapter 19, and it's verse 12. So basically, the guy asked him, what his name was. You need to tell us his name. And the kid responded with, and he had a name. He had a name written that no man knew but he himself. And he stands up, and Bill Skarsgård, the actor, is a tall guy, so he's looming above him. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of God. So basically, the warden's assistant started freaking out, kind of ran out of the cell, and basically the kid just, stood in front of him and took his cell door and locked it behind him. What a pansy, that guy. That guy's such a pansy. He's trying to say he's going to torture the kid, and then as soon as the kid stood up to most likely defend himself, he was running scared. So I thought that's really interesting. I like this episode, but I just want to see so much more of the kid. I want to know more about this guy. In each episode, we don't really know. He barely says anything. I believe in the second half, it looks like he's going to have a lot more scenes, and that's really what I want, honestly. But that's not all that the kid does this episode, so we'll get to it. Have no worries. Have no fears. Next, Henry and Alan talk at Henry's dad's gravesite. So basically, Henry's getting his dad, his coffin moved, because originally it was in the church. He wants it back in the church cemetery. They had to move it because of budget reasons. And Alan was the one that signed the form to move his body, so Alan has to come with them. And we basically learn a few things. We learn Alan most likely was shacking up with Henry's mom long before we originally thought. I believe this. I remember in I think my first review I said I think that Alan is got together with his mom even before Henry went missing, and that seems to be the case. So basically, Henry tells him, you're taking advantage of my mom, so I'm taking her back to Texas, and I'm putting her into a home. We see a scene later, Alan with the mom basically telling her that maybe you should go to Texas with your son, be close with your son. It was a sweet scene. We were always so against Alan. My brother and I and my dad, we were always hating on Alan. But it was nice. They seem like they really want to be with each other. And Alan's, not just using her. He actually cares for her. And that was really cool. I really like seeing stuff like that. It's the one happy scene in Castle Rock, I feel like. So basically she says, I'm not leaving. And she ends up telling Henry that. And she's gutting fish, as we all do in Texas. Or they're not in Texas anymore. They're in Maine. But I live in Texas, as we do, gutting fish. And she basically says to Henry, if the only way I'm leaving this house is in a box. So we got the title. So she said the title line, so that was cool. So she told him, I'm not leaving. You're not taking me back to Texas. I'm not just some old woman. I'm here to stay. It was pretty intense, honestly. Not just a good old-fashioned mom-to-son talk. This was not a good chat. So I like this. I like where they're going with things, and I really like the actress that plays Henry's mom. Next, moving on, we see Molly. She's trying to sell the Warden's house because she's a real estate agent, and it's kind of weird. She wasn't in this episode as much. She was in the third one. Third episode was pretty much all about her. So we didn't really get to see her that much. Basically, as she's trying to sell the house, talk about how great the house is, she has to hide the warden's urn where his ashes are. Which, real quick, why I brought up this scene was my brother brought up a good point with me as well. How they didn't know where the warden's body was when he drove off the cliff. Then the dog found his body, I believe, at the end of episode 2. So did they find the body and the show didn't even talk about it and they burned his ashes? I don't really know what happened. I thought that was a big reveal that the dog found the body and they were like, how'd it get over here? When he drove off a cliff, how'd he get all the way on land? I don't know. But that's pretty much why I include this scene. Nothing really came of it, honestly. She's trying to sell the house. I don't remember the wife saying she was going to leave, but her husband did commit suicide, so she probably wants to get out of this town. So we still have a lot more to dive into with the second half of this review. I hope you're enjoying it, and we got a lot to talk about, so hope you're enjoying the review and keep watching. Alright, to get in the second half of this review, basically this episode, Henry wasn't more investigating for the kid, he was more investigating his own case, trying to figure out what went on, try to remember what happened, because he doesn't remember anything. So he gets a lead where he finds this newspaper article basically saying they had a suspect back when he went missing, so he's going to visit that house. Instead of finding that person who is actually is deceased, he's not living anymore, he finds his brother, his weird brother, Joseph. And his brother basically kept his file, which I thought, that's kind of a stretch, how he kind of just happened to find his file. The police, or the precinct or whatever flooded or something, and he found the file. But he basically kept it after all these years, and he basically told Henry, you can let everyone know that I never touched you. So obviously this man has something to do with it. He had this weird, box in the, the title, he had this weird, shack in the back of the house where it looked like it could be the house of a dog, maybe even a small child, maybe Henry Deaver, maybe we're learning something. But basically Henry realizes that Alan, when he was sheriff of the town, didn't really look into this guy or his brother. It didn't investigate. He kind of just pushed it aside and did his own thing. So Henry meets up again with Alan, and he's pretty much furious at at Alan, I'm sorry. He's furious at him. He says, why weren't you investigating? You're a pretty crappy sheriff. You didn't do your job. And basically Alan lets him know on a big secret that he didn't investigate on it because he knows he knows why Henry's dad died, and it's because Henry did it. So we're like, what? What are you talking about? Because we know, obviously, Molly was the one who killed Henry's dad. But basically, he says the night before Henry's dad died, Alan went to speak with him. Henry's dad couldn't even talk because of the breathing tube. So he wrote down on a piece of paper in big letters, Henry did it. So it looks like he was giving a clue that Henry was the cause of his death, and we know that's not the case. So basically, Alan didn't investigate into that random guy and his brother, because people would soon find out that Henry did it. So he did it to protect Henry and pretty much protect Henry's mom, because, he loves her. So that was, I thought it was like, okay, he's protecting him, but he's also thinks he's the killer. They basically, to end the scene, told each other to F off, pretty much. So Alan thought Henry did it this entire time, so why would he go looking for him? I don't know. It's a lot to take in, really, that scene. So Henry's basically has no idea what to do. He's kind of starts to think, maybe I did kill my dad, because he doesn't remember the whole thing, so he thinks maybe I did. He goes to Molly's house. This entire time, him and Dennis is the prison guard that we like. He's the one that found the kid originally in the first episode. I like Dennis. Dennis was great. So the entire time, they're going to investigate. They're going to have a trial. They're going to, basically get the kid out. Dennis, he wants the entire prison shut down. He sees guards beat up prisoners on a daily basis for absolutely no reason. Everyone looks the other way. He hates being there. It's just a mess to him, and it's really he has some pretty bad demons with this place, and he struggles internally with it throughout the episode. So basically, we see Henry go to Molly's house. He doesn't even know what to say. She's up to speed because she feels for him. She knows his emotions, and she has those weird powers. So she basically invites him into his home, and they don't kiss. They don't show kissing. They don't show any type of sexual intercourse. But it appears that Henry got some. He spends the night, and he calls Dennis and says, "You know what? I'm going back to Texas. I'm dropping the case." Or maybe he says he's going to work to get the kid out, but that's pretty much it. He's going back to Texas, and Dennis can't deal with that. So basically, throughout the episode, or at the beginning of the episode, Dennis tells the kid, we're going to figure everything out. You're going to get out of here. We're taking this whole place down. Me and you together. Fist bump, bro. And so the kid ends up making a fist. He has to teach him how to fist bump because the kid just doesn't know what's going on. They fist bump. And what happened the last time the kid touched someone? Oh, yeah, he had a massive cancer tearing through his body, and he ended up dying. So, Dennis, why did you have to fist bump him? Why? So it looks like throughout the episode, Dennis has these weird things where he goes in to watch the prison's cameras. He does his shift. The lady that was always there when her shift was done, it was so annoying. She always told him to smile. She said, why don't you ever smile? Maybe because it's a prison. It's not really happy-go-lucky times going on, lady. She was annoying. But basically, Dennis kind of mocks her. He does this, weird, creepy smile. He ends up drawing smiley faces on each screen. He does some weird stuff throughout the episode, and it's because I think of the kid touching him. And at the very end, no, Dennis, no. Dennis draws X's on all the screens. Then he gets his gun, and he goes through the prison because he's seeing all these guards on the screens beating up beating up the prisoners, mocking them, just smacking trays out of their hands. And he takes his gun, and with music in the background about smiling, about crying, he goes on a shooting rampage and starts murdering all the guards. He shoots everybody. He just goes through people. Most guards don't really know what's going on, so they're easy, to kill because he just ends up shooting them, blindsiding them. A horrific scene. It really is. This is some dark stuff. And I saw one review. I usually read a few reviews before making these videos. They were like, this was a poor ending. It didn't have anything to do with the tone of the show. And I'm like, have you ever read anything Stephen King worthy? He has some pretty dark stuff. This was right up Stephen King's universe. I feel like Stephen King watched this and was like, let's do this, So he goes on a shooting rampage. He basically finds Henry because Henry is meeting with the warden, holds up his gun to him and says, I just want to testify. He wants to keep this investigation going with the kid in the prison. Flashbang falls into the room, and Dennis is murdered. He's shot on sight. So Henry has to, as the episode closed, he sees Dennis's dead body, which is really sad. I feel like this is why I didn't like this episode as much. I liked it. I liked it a lot, but I was just so sad. I thought Dennis was going to be like a really good character and really go on really far and be like this big thing. The good guy you can really root for. So I'm really sad about that. But it was a shocking ending. It was a crazy ending, and just horrific stuff. I shouldn't sound so excited when I say it because it's a brutal ending, and he was murdering people. But obviously the kid has some touch. Don't touch the kid. No one touched him. But there's also a big question. Throughout when they took him out of the cage and they took him out of his cell in that bunker down under, no one touched him from then up until that point. Only two people have touched him. Is his cellmate and Dennis. I don't believe that. I feel like one guard would have touched him or like helped him up or done something. But maybe I'm just looking too in depth into it. So that's my review. Sorry it was so long, but it was a crazy episode. It has some crazy, and I feel like a lot of crazy implications are gonna happen because of this, obviously. So thanks so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts all down below of the review and of the episode. The episode, more importantly. Let me know your thoughts on all of it. Hope you're enjoying the series. Hope you're enjoying the reviews. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, have a great day.